Hey there. I want to start by saying thank you for tuning in once again to another Enlightened Hearts Ministry podcast. I'm Hudson, and honestly, I've been sitting here in the studio just looking at today's readings, wrestling with a word that I think a lot of us feel deep in our bones right now. That word is scattered. If you've been following the blog or listening to our recent deep dives into the architecture of hope, you know we talk a lot about foundations. We talk about building things that last. But today's first reading from Acts chapter 8 feels like a demolition site. Let's set the scene. Saint Stephen, that angel-faced witness we just talked about, has been martyred. And immediately, the text says a severe persecution broke out. The church, this beautiful brand new structure of faith, is getting absolutely rocked. Saul is ravaging the scene, dragging men and women off to prison. If you were a disciple in Jerusalem that day, you'd be doing what I call grief math. You're adding up the losses, the fear, the displacement, and it feels like the total is zero. It feels like the blueprints were just tossed into a shredder. But here's the thing about the master architect. What looks like a disaster to the neighbors is often just the beginning of a massive expansion. The text says that those who had been scattered went about preaching the word. Think about that for a second. The wind of persecution, the very thing intended to blow out the flame of the gospel, ended up carrying the sparks to Samaria. When Philip goes down to Samaria, he isn't just a refugee, he's a witness. And suddenly, there's great joy in that city. I've been wrestling with this in my own life lately. Maybe you have too. Sometimes we feel scattered by life's circumstances. Maybe it's a job loss, a broken relationship, or just that overwhelming feeling that your life is in pieces. It's easy to look at the rubble and think the project is over. But in Catholic tradition, we remember what the Church Fathers taught us. Saint Ignatius of Antioch once said that we are God's wheat. Sometimes we have to be ground down by the trials of this world to become the pure bread of Christ. The scattering isn't a funeral, it's a seed planting. It's the architect's way of saying the job site is bigger than you thought. And that leads us right into the heart of the gospel. John chapter 6. Jesus is standing before a crowd that has followed him across the sea, not because they saw the signs, but because they wanted more free lunch. They are looking for a bread king, someone to solve their temporary hunger so they don't have to work anymore. And this is where Jesus drops the mic. He says, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never hunger, and whoever believes in me will never thirst. Let's talk about that spiritual hunger. We live in a culture that treats hunger like a design flaw. We have apps for instant food, instant entertainment, instant validation. We buy the latest phone, and 6 months later, it feels like a relic. We chase a promotion, thinking it will finally complete the structure of our happiness, only to find that the same old loneliness creeps back in. We have this nagging void, this itch in the soul. But here's the controversial truth. That hunger isn't a flaw. It's a feature. It's a built-in alarm system. It's the architect's way of ensuring we don't set up camp in a building that's eventually going to be demolished. If we were satisfied with the bread that perishes, the stuff the world sells us, we'd never go looking for the master builder. As the Catechism says in paragraph 1324, the Eucharist is the source and summit of our entire life. It's the summit because everything we build leads up to it. And it's the source because it's the only power that allows the building to stand. This ties back to our previous reflections on the I am. When Jesus says, I am the bread, he is revealing that the foundation of our satisfaction is a person, not a checklist. In the Old Testament, God provided manna. It was temporary. But Jesus is the eternal manna. When you feel scattered, when you feel like a scrapped piece of material on the floor, remember what Jesus says at the end of today's reading. He says it's the Father's will that I should not lose anything of what he gave me. Think about that phrase, not lose anything. In a world that treats people as disposable, as human resources to be used and discarded, Jesus is the architect who refuses to throw away a single scrap. So, as we sing our responsorial psalm today, let all the earth cry out to God with joy. Let's remember why we are shouting. We aren't shouting because everything is going perfectly. We are shouting because he changed the sea into dry land. He has the power to take your Red Sea, your scattered Samaria, your hunger, and turn it into a foundation for something that will be raised up on the last day. Your trials aren't destroying you. They are refining you. You are part of the Father's gift to the Son, and the Son doesn't lose his gifts. Let's sit with that as we look at today's haiku. Scattered by the wind, bread of life heals every ache, home within the I Am. Once again, thanks for being part of the Enlightened Hearts family, and I'll talk to you soon.